Excel again, my dears. Cause no matter how good you are in Python or etc., your boss will always ask you for an Excel sheet. So we better know how to master it. And today we will see probably the Excel final boss, the XLOOKUP function. In the very first minutes, you will learn how to use it in its basic form. But if you stay for more, there will be several levels to unlock. So let's the challenge start. To understand how XLOOKUP works in its basic form, we're gonna use an example in this small dataset. I wanna find, for instance, the price for a specific model of smartphone. In this case, I have two ways to do that. First one, click on FX Insert Formulas, and in the guide interface opening, select XLOOKUP, and then all the inputs elements. In bold are the only three mandatory inputs. But we're gonna use the traditional method. Just use XLOOKUP in the formula and insert the three elements. First of all, lookup value, which is the model of the smartphone, so 1 plus 11. Then I select isArray, so the model column, and I locked with F4. Now I only have to select the return array, which is the column of all the price, so that I can, and once again I lock it with F4. Then I return, and here we are. Then I can copy and paste the formula and drag it for all the other ones. And that's how XLOOKUP works in its very and simplest way. But now, before leaving for this basic form, let me show you how to insert my lookup value, because this is very important according to the use you will do in the future. First one, as we see, is just select the lookup array in the cell inside our dataset. But we can even just address one single cell outside it. Here I got a formula which is referring to F2. I didn't have to lock it. Why? Because this way I can just test a formula just by references to a specific element. But if I want to test it in several ways, I can create a list, a scroll down list. And now I do that, I go in a cell. This is where my formula is addressing to F3, so the usual formula. I go in this cell, I go to data, I go to data validation, and here I select list. Now I only have to insert the interval or range of my input data, and of course add the model. Now I click OK, and here we go. I got a small arrow pointing down, and then here I select whichever element, Samsung Galaxy A14 for instance, and here we see the price changes. I choose another one, Motorola, and it changes again. In the last way, we select as a lookup value a cell which is not included in the same sheet, but another one. In this case, I'm gonna use the smartphone dataset, the complete format. In this case, I'm using the first element, so the first model, which is not included in XLOOKUP. So the first one after Oppo A78, which is Xiaomi Redmi Note 12. Now, how to do that? It's simple. I know the same formula in the same cell. And now we can just follow in the other page. In fact, I go on smartphone dataset, and here we see I got the same formula. Now, I just have to select the first cell that I say, which is this one, Xiaomi Redmi Note 12. As my value, my lookup value, is on another page and is not included in the other sheet, I have to select as a lookup array the same array here. And finally, I select as a return array the price column. Before I click return, just pay attention to the way the text is displayed. It's different because I'm working on a table. If you don't remember how to use that, or you've never known that, I suggest you to follow my previous video, Python versus Excel. Now, let's return, and here we got the price for the Xiaomi. Congratulations! Now you know how to use XLOOKUP in its basic form. You deserve that pat on your back. However...
And if you've come this far, maybe you're willing to come a little further.
Let's focus now on the main advantage of our XLOOKUP over VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP. Now you see here the same table as before. I already fill in the XLOOKUP formula in both directions, because this is the first advantage. It can work in both vertical then horizontal direction. The only thing that changes, let's zoom in, it's the lookup array. In this case, it's B2, B13, because it's of course a column. In this case, on the other hand, it's between B18 and M18, because it's horizontal. Let's see here another limitation, which is this one. If I have this company, I select my lookup value as a B2, then I select all the interval, as we say, as an array, and as my return array, I select the number of the column. In here, I select 2 as the number of the row. But what happens if I drag my formula as I do with XLOOKUP? There are some mistakes. It raises value not available error. Why? Actually, that's a mistake here, because we know that all the models are real present here. So how to fix it? Well, we need to insert a fourth input, which is false, exact match. And now, if I drag it, everything works. The same, I don't do the same here, but it's false even in V-HLOOKUP. Look at here. I select as my lookup value a name of a model which doesn't exist. In this case, Bepe's phone. Of course, you don't find here in my lookup array in B2, B13. So now what's the problem here? That if I don't do anything here, now let me cut it. You see, and once again, it raises this not beloved error. Now, before leaving you, another advantage here. VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP, every time you select your return array, as you see here, for instance in the formula, always have your model, so your lookup value, to be on the leftmost or the topmost return array. That's not happening for XLOOKUP, for instance. In fact, look at here. I say XLOOKUP, I select once again my lookup value, and now my array. My array is always the same, so nothing changed here. I lock it, and now as my return array, I'm supposed to select price, and that's it. However, I can do something else. I can even add another column here. I say look at into brand name, for instance. Now, without even specify any other information, I got my value working. Now, what happens if my lookup value is not found inside the same lookup array? We already seen that we can even match another model, for instance, another smartphone here from another page, but then we have to select the same array on the other page. But now I want to do everything here, and let's take an example. Probably you've seen many of these examples with a date format. It's the same principle. For instance, now instead of the price, I want to see, I want to try to buy a new smartphone, and I created 7 different range of price in absolute value. How can I do so here is, I want to select the price as my lookup value now. And I want to select is a lookup array not in this column of price, but in this other one. As you can see, many of these prices are not included here, actually none of them. So it will raise a value error as we've seen before. But let's see how to do it in a different way, but just by using the fifth input element, which is the partial match. Let's see how to do that. Once again, I select my lookup formula, and now, as I told you before, now my lookup value is the price. And of course, its lookup array is no more this one, but this one here, then I lock. Now, as my return array, I select this colored one and lock it. What happened? Now it's an error. Of course, as I told you. But what if I say, okay, in case you don't find the exact match, just leave it blank. But I'm not satisfied. I just want to find another kind of match. In this case, I want to find the next or small item. What does it mean? We will see immediately. As you can see here, I say, whenever I find this price, in this case the price is 54,999. So it was supposed to be close to 60,000. However, I say, let's go to the smaller one. The smaller equivalent is to 50,000. So the return array is between 40k to 50k. If I now drag my formula, it works for all of them. I actually can even go on with all the other elements inside here. And we will see that now I have immediately what I was looking at. I can do the opposite one. Instead of the lowest one, I can select, and just let me see here in this example, which is the same. I just say from the cheapest one, from the poor to the costly one. And now in the formula, I select 1. I didn't select -1, which means that now 4,099 it's an upper, which is of course the lowest one here. So sorry, the higher one. Last time was 40k, and now it becomes on 60,000 on the upper. Another option we have is to find the same exact match, but not just for numbers or date, but even for words, or better, partial match for words. For instance, let's take an example here. I want to find out, okay, now I can even, the formula here. I want to select the word, any smartphone model, which includes the word or the 3 letters 1. And that's mean the model column as my lookup array, and finally return all my brand name for that model. Once again, I select now no more exact match 0, no more partial match 1 or -1, but 2. And finally, I even select the order, -1. This is another more. Anyway, as you can see here, just to make an example, 1 is included in the model for OnePlus 11, OnePlus Nord. Then there is Apple iPhone, because these 2 asterisks before and after 1 means any words or any letters before and after. So in this case, even Apple can work. And so if I select this way and I select the last element, of course it will return me nothing for. So the brand name nothing. And that's what happened here. If I change the formula and I say 1, for instance, but okay, it's included here, I select the first one, which is OnePlus 11 5G. So the brand name is OnePlus. And that's in fact what I get.
Separate the wheat from the chaff, the men from the boys.
Now let's handle multiple criteria just by using XLOOKUP, something that we already seen with the filter function in my last video. Let's call XLOOKUP for buying an Oppo smartphone with a price of $18.99. So these are my 2 conditions. So this is my first lookup value, and this is my second lookup value. Now I need to select my lookup array, and I select brand name, and with another commercial E, I select even the price. Remember, I can do because they're not HLOOKUP or VLOOKUP, so I can handle not contingent columns. Once I'm done, I select my final return array, and the price. And the result is Oppo A78. Now let's do the reverse, and I want to find out 2 input, so the brand name and the price, just by starting from the model, which is Oppo A79. For doing this, I'm just have to use XLOOKUP as usual. I select as my lookup value Oppo A78 and its lookup array. But now I need to select the other 2 return array, which is brand name and price. In this case, just for having all information inside 3 different columns, I select the whole return array. okay? In fact, you will see criteria, which is the name of the whole table. Once I'm done, you can see the same information I got here, Oppo here, and 1899 here.
So don't go anywhere, folks. It's just getting exciting.
Now we know enough how to use XLOOKUP in order to make a combo with another Excel function. In this case, specifically, I just want to find out only Samsung smartphone in a range between 30,000 to 40,000, and at the end I just want to select the model which is the most expensive, so the closest to the 40,000. How to do that? In two steps. In the first one, I just want to select all the Samsung model just by using filter, where we select the whole dataset. Okay, then I select all my condition, and I'm gonna use 3 conditions with the asterisks. The first condition must be that the model, better the brand name, must be equal to Samsung. I'm here, equal Samsung. Now the second criteria is that I want to find out only price higher than 30,000 or equal 30,000. And again, I see the same thing with 40,000, but now lower. Now I want to come back to the formula and sort according to the price in ascending order. Sort with the fifth column, so the price, and I don't have to specify the ascending order. Now I got all the price, and now I only want to select this one. I finally can use XLOOKUP. It's not enough anyway, because I want to select the last one. So in this case, I first of all say, in case you don't know any match, do nothing, exact match, and finally the last element. And here we got Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Lite, which is actually the most expensive in my range. Hey you, still here? Well, great, because it's time for the last challenge, nested XLOOKUP, or as someone other call it, two-side lookup. But what are we talking about? Well, to put it simple, we're gonna use an XLOOKUP inside another XLOOKUP. In the first one, instead of just getting one single value or a cell, I'm gonna to output a whole column or array. And as you can understand, this array will be used as my return array for the other XLOOKUP. Confused? Let's see an example. First of all, I'm going to use 3 different drop-down lists. Now, in the first step, I'm going to use XLOOKUP, and I'm going to select the price as my lookup value. But instead that now use the price column as my lookup array, I'm going to use the horizontal side for the table array. A bit strange, isn't it? But you will understand. Now, as my return array, I select the whole column. Now that I got it, first of all, let me copy all this part. And now, let me run it. As you can see here now, I don't have one single element, but a whole array. And this array will be used now in the second XLOOKUP as first input, so the return array. And in fact, I'm just going to use XLOOKUP once again. This time I select my model, and as usual, I go to my model column. And here, let me copy and paste my XLOOKUP for the other formula. I close it, and I got my result. So two-side because I start in the first step just by using an horizontal array, and then I proceed with another column, another vertical array. But I can do the opposite in this model here. That's an alternative example. where I'm just using another nested XLOOKUP but in inverted order. Now, why did I use just this list? Because you now can change in real time. For instance, I select brand name and you see everything change. Now I change even this other one with Apple, and this time will change here. So you can see all the tables now are connected. Wow, you made it till the end. You worked your ass so hard and I'm so proud of you. Now you mastered XLOOKUP, so maybe liking or subscribing this channel won't be such a tough challenge, right? Anyway, see you all next time. Bye bye!